Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going back to the Scrawlrbox from this month. So that'll be May 2020. In the Scrawlrbox we got the Peerless watercolour palette, which is like basically it's pigment on card. We got a pencil, but I'm not going to use that today, so this is just a reminder what we got. And we got this Scrawlrbox paintbrush. So the theme of the month was flowing figures, and I'm not going to be doing that this time as well. What I'm doing is I'm going to be teaching you how to do a really simple mountain landscape watercolour, and it's so simple we are going to do two. So in addition to the supplies, say I've already taped my paper down. Full disclosure, I'm going to be honest, this is not the paper we got in the box this month because it's the paper we got is hot press, and I don't like hot press, so this is cold press. And it's actually, I don't know, oh, I'm moving away from the camera, but I don't know if you remember a while ago we got some Clairefontaine aqua pad, and I think that was the month where we had the Derwent Pastel Shades palette. I used all of that, so I've bought this, which is a 70 sheets, I guess, pad, so that's how much I liked that paper. So just because it's out of preference, that's what I'm going to use today. Now the technique I'm going to be using is it's basically just washes, and we're going to do two paintings, and I'm going to use one colour for one colour for the other. In the interest of speed, I also have a hairdryer because I'm too impatient to wait for things to dry. I have my paint palette, I have one thing of water which is to clean my brush because I'm going to use two colours and I'm going to do each layer at the same time, so I'm going to have to clean the brush. And then I have a little pipette to add water to the paint and some clean water. Oh, and one last thing is we're going to be dealing with like the strength of the paint. So like concentration. So I'm going to use this is a Sea Whites of Brighton, I think, watercolour postcard, so we're going to use that just to swatch, I guess. So first of all, if you would like to join in, get yourself set up and grab your Peerless watercolours. You could do this with other watercolours as well, it doesn't have to be these. So I think what I'm going to go for today is peacock blue, or I'm going to go for mountain green. This was my favourite colour actually. So this is the mountain green cards, and I'm not sure, I don't want yellow because I don't think it would work quite as well. I think maybe a pink or heliotrope purple. No, that's probably too close. Let's go with Arlie's Opera. Okay, so I'm just going to, and they're leaving pigment everywhere already. I'm just going to get these out of the way. So we're not going to use the rest of the colours. So here we go, Arlie's Opera and mountain green. So the first thing I'm going to do is wet the paintbrush, and I'm going to start making my lightest shade. So we're going to work light to dark, which is what you should always do with watercolour. And if we start with the pink first, so with a not too wet brush, what I do for this is I get as much pigment as possible, and I'm going to put that in there into the palette. So let's get a bit off there. So because we're going to make a reasonable amount of paint, because the last thing we really want is it to run out. So now I've done that, I want to water this down, and this is going to take quite a lot. So this is a dropping pipette. I got this, I think it was from an upgrade earlier in the year. Now because I want this light, I am adding so that's approximately 3 mils of water. I'm going to give it a good mix because you want consistency of paint, and then I'm just going to test. So actually that's too dark. I want that lighter, so put that in the dirty water thing. I'm going to add another 2. So this is quite simple. Every time we do a layer, we are going to add more pigment to the water. So there's a lot of paint in there now, and you can see that's a bit lighter. I'm not sure if I want to go. I think that's fine. I think that's good. So that will do for the pink for now. And now I'm going to move on to the mountain green. So I'm going to do exactly the same. So now this paint has got pink in it. So we want to go into this one, our second one, which is clean water, so we don't cross-contaminate. It's a very scientific thing there. You can tell I work in science as my day job. And I'm just going to put a little bit of the paint there. So not too much, but you know, a decent amount, because we're going to make a fair amount of watercolour paint there with those. So I'm going to pop that there out of the way, and I'm going to water this down until I get it to a level that I like. So 3 in, I'll probably go for a 4th. So now I'm going to test this again. I'm making sure all the previous paint has been cleaned off that brush, so that's not messing with the colour. So it does look quite dark, but we'll see what it's like on here. Okay, that's lighter than what I would like. So we're going to add a little bit more pigment and try it again. So, and again, I'm going to add some more. And then try again. Probably going to either do 3 to 4 layers here. These are actually really quick paintings to do. So that's a little bit better this time. Okay. So I do have another paintbrush, because I'm doing washes. I'm going to see how well this paintbrush does first, because it's quite small. Actually, I might bring this one in for the first layer at least, just to get it. So this is a De La Rowney flat wash, because if I show you now, remove these paints, try not to spill them. It's going to take quite a while to do that, so I'm going to get this wash brush in, and I'm going to cover the entire page to start. So we're not doing a wet on wet technique. We're going to dry the layers each time. Because we want our mountains to be quite a sharp edge. We don't want bleeding. I mean, if you like bleeding, that's fine, but I not for this. I don't that's not what I want for this. So that's the first layer done. As you can see, it's very light. That's going to be our sky layer. So now I've just washed my brush, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the pink. So here we go. This is a bit much more vibrant one. And somehow there is a little bit of green on there, but it's fine, it's tiny. Okay. I mean, you can make this layer as light or as dark as you want, as long as you can make it darker. Because we're only using one colour. For each painting, we want the definition between the layers. So they kind of, I think the end result is like a misty mountain almost. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is, because this is still wet, even though it's quite warm today, it's May, so no, it's not, it's June, so it's still warm. But I am just going to use the hairdryer. Now this is going to be really, really loud, so I'm going to pause the video between each. So you don't have the noise of the hairdryer subjected to you, but here it is, and I'm about to use it. Okay, so these layers are dry now, so what we're going to do is we're going to start adding, I don't trust that, I don't want to ruin the paintings, we are going to start adding more pigment in. So I'm going to keep this brush actually, because for this layer it's going to be quite high, so we don't want it to take too long and it to end up being splotchy, which it can do a little bit if you I found if you're not quick enough. So what I like to do is just pick up more pigment, put it in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the swatch we used, which is this one, and we're going to test it against it to see what it looks like. So that's, for me, not dark enough. I want to go a little, not too dark, because these, like I said, these are going to be like misty mountains almost, like there's some sort of haze. So we don't want them to be too dark, but we do want to be able to see a difference there between the sky and the mountains. So that's a bit darker. I'm going to go for that with that one. And then the same with Ali's Opera. We're just going to add enough pigment to see a definite layer. So you can tell which sheet as well I've used more of. Okay. Okay, so let's test that now. So like before, just make sure your paint is mixed properly. Okay, so I'm not really sure if I want a bit more pigment in that or if that's fine. I think we'll that's enough of a difference. We'll go with that. Okay, so as my paintbrush is in the pink paint, I'm just thinking here, I'm going to go straight in. So what we're going to do is we can do our first line of mountains, which is the mountains furthest away. I don't plan my mountains, I just kind of go for it. I've done a lot of mountains to be able to just do a kind of mountain shape. If this is the first time you've done them, I might suggest just having a little look at pictures of mountain ranges, but also have a look at other people's illustrations. Sometimes I find that more helpful, is to see how someone else has drawn it rather than what it actually looks like. But I've done a lot of mountains, so this is quite easy for me. So it's always, I like to start high up and then come down. You don't want it to be straight lines, it's an organic shape. And then I'm going to come back up this side. So that is our rough mountain range in the back done. I'm just going to fill in a bit with this brush. As I said, these are really easy. There's nothing complicated about this, and this is really good for just like a little quick fun watercolour. So let's come in with this brush now to finish this layer. It always helps if you have a cloth or some tissue. I like to use a cloth because I can wash it and reuse it. And now we're just going to wash out the rest of the layer. And this is just, it's the same process for each layer basically. Got some little gaps there. You know, these layers are taken, it takes more time to mix the colour and get the right shade than it does to actually paint it. Change that bit there a little bit. Okay, and that layer is done. So now we've already mixed our green, so we're going to come in with this brush again. Let's get out the colour and put it in the clean paint. And we are going to draw in our mountain range. So obviously this is a landscape one, so just a little bit of variation. And I think before I do that is I'm going to dry this brush off actually and take some of that paint off, because there's a lot pooling down the sides just where the pages. This paper is really good for buckling, but it's not it doesn't not buckle, but it's one of the better ones for it. There's a little bit of bulging there, but to be honest, this is the reason why I use this paper, is it does that the least. And the reason why I'm not using one from Scrawlrbox is I found when I did try to use it originally, it did buckle quite a lot, and I don't like my paint pooling in places that I don't want it. So, but I hear hot press is better for gouache, because gouache is apparently better when you've got smoother paper, and a lot of people say that hot press is better for watercolour because you've got all the little nooks and crannies for it to fill into, and I agree with that. That's just personal preference, and you know, if I know a lot of people that like hot press, I just don't. But the same principle here is I'm going to start here high, and I've virtually got the same line there, which I don't want. And I'm just going to come in, and that's really not very much colour differentiation there, but we're going to go with it. Tone, colour. Okay. I'm going to move this before I drip paint on the pink. So at the moment, for me, I think that pink's looking better. But yeah. I know a lot of people really liked this box. I was so happy when I opened it. I've actually not heard of Peerless Watercolour before, but I gather a lot of people have. But I've been using, I forget what they're called, the Viviva colour sheets recently, and yeah, they're basically the same thing. They come in like a little notebook. I showed them in my last video briefly, and they're just really handy. And the really good thing about them is actually they dry on the paper really quick. Not on the paper, sorry, in the palette. They don't stay wet for a long time. So that makes them super portable. The only thing I do find with them is I think because this type of palette is so pigmented, you end up getting, well, actually my hands are pretty clean, but there's been times where my hands have been absolutely covered in pigment. It kind of just flakes off. Okay. So getting this down quick, and then we'll get the hairdryer out again. Well, that is quite a different one. So now I've got it down and it's starting to dry a bit. Actually, that's a good difference there. Okay. See, where I wasn't too quick, there's like a line there that I can't get rid of, but that's fine. Okay, so we're going to go back with the hairdryer, dry this layer, come back, make a darker layer. So here it is again. I will be back in a moment. Okay, so we're back now. So layer 2 is dry. I've just noticed there's some tiny little specks of pink in this painting, but it's fine, it's art, you can do what you like, and I'm going to pretend I wanted that even though I didn't. Okay, so we're going to go through exactly the same process again. We are going to darken the pink. So again, clean brush, I'll wipe that so it's too much, didn't want too much water in, I've just dipped it in a little bit now. So I'm going to put more pink in. So we want a nice noticeable layer again. So now this is the swatch again. Mix the paint thoroughly and test. Okay, so I want more pigment. Barely see the difference there. I'm hoping I've chosen a colour that this is actually going to work on. I'd hate to be doing this video telling you how to paint a watercolour and not be able to get the paint the way I want. Okay, so that is quite a lot darker, so we're going to go with that. Oh, again, wash the brush. Let's get that out of there. Wash the brush. Wash the brush some more. Okay, now we're going to darken the green. Same process. So this is basically each layer is now going to be a recap. So that's a good amount of pigment's gone in there, I think. Okay, so again, swatch. Real big colour difference, so that's great. I've even got pigment on this pigment goes everywhere, it's on my laptop. Okay, so I've got the green brush this time, so I'm going to come in with this, and I've just got green paint on my pink. Brilliant. Oh, it's all fun, isn't it? Okay. So I like my mountains to look relatively natural, so I'm not going to keep following the same line. What I could do is bring a layer above, and I'm going to do that, yeah. So this one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it up there, so it just peaks a bit up above the mountains behind it. And I hope this is going to work, because there's a potentially going to be a line through that now. But let's hope that's worked. Okay, so we've got our line there. Thicken this up so I can bring the bigger brush in. Not sure I've got enough pigment to make that dark up there. That through. Okay, so again, bigger brush. Don't want to be putting, I'm just drying that on the cloth. I don't want to be putting more water in this, otherwise it's going to mess the layer up. And then we're just going to bring all that colour through again. Okay, that layer is done. So wash the brush. Okay. Right. Into the pink layer. Okay. Here we go. So here's our mountain line. Oh, I've run out of things to say. So, yeah, so the reason I really like painting mountains is because it reminds me of, I spoke in a previous video about when I went to Los Angeles and LA. And I've been to LA once, I've been to Los Angeles and LA? Las Vegas and LA. I've been to LA once, I've been to Las Vegas many times. And I feel really, really at home in the desert, which is why I think I like to paint mountains quite a lot. And thinking about it now, is I remember one time sitting in my hotel room. I was staying in New York, and I woke up super early. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I looked out the window because it was light, or it was getting light, and I remember like this lilac haze over the mountains, because Las Vegas is in I think it's in like a valley, so it's like surrounded by mountains. And I remember this like haze covering the mountains, and it was just beautiful. So I really should have used purple, but I haven't today. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to maybe do 3 layers on this. I'll see how I feel after the next layer, and 4 layers on this maybe, but we will see. But I'm gonna time lapse the next layer, because I don't think I need to keep telling you the same thing. So yeah, I'll catch up with you shortly. Hi, so welcome back after the time lapse. So admittedly, I said before I went off and sped everything up that I would be doing a 4th layer on the green on camera. That didn't work out because I don't know what's happened with my camera, but I recorded, so I finished the time lapse, stopped, then started again, recorded 5 minutes of footage of the last layer and me talking, and my phone has decided to save 5 seconds of it and not the 5 minutes. So that's I don't know what happened there. It was still recording at the end, so yeah, I'm not even gonna try and work out what happened there. It's not like it's done it in slow recorded time, not slow like time lapse or anything like that. It's recorded a real time piece of video, just only saved the first few seconds. But never mind. So yeah, you didn't really miss much because I explained in previously on the other layers what to do. This final layer was exactly the same as the rest. So for this one, I think I made a good call because I don't think I could get this dark enough again to make another range, a mountain range noticeable. But we could definitely do that with the green. So we've got a super dark layer here, and I don't think I'll get that any darker. And what you did miss me talking about was how thick the paint actually was by the time I'd mixed this colour. This one was still reasonably watery when I finished, whereas this one was, I don't know what it was the consistency of, but it was not water-like anymore. It was much thicker. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial anyway. I know it's really simple, but I find that a lot of people tend to be scared of watercolour and don't know how to start. So this is a really good piece for anybody really, beginners or people who are more advanced. If you just want like a really simple watercolour to do, there's nothing too difficult there. And I was talking about how much I like this paper, and the reason is this. This has taken 4 very wet wash layers, and this has taken 5, and there is very minimal warping. That's the Clairefontaine Aquapad, and this is not what we got in this month's Scrawlrbox. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. If you painted along with me, let me know how you got on, or if you tried this separately, I'd love to know how you found it. And yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, then give me a subscribe. I try and upload as much as possible. Yeah, and if you hit the bell, you'll get notified of new uploads. And yeah, I'll leave a link below to my social media accounts. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and TikTok. I'll also leave a link below to where you can go if you wanted to subscribe to Scrawlrbox. If you use the link that I'm going to leave below, you can get a small discount on your first month when you take out a subscription. So until next time, thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you soon.